Whoa. I had, whoa, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, chat. I had to wake up, right? I had to use the smelling salts to wake myself up because for a second there, I was reading this article and I thought to myself, this has to be a dream, right? This has to be a dream. There ain't no way this could be true, but it is very, very true. Woke Hollywood is crumbling before our very eyes. And chat, I have to say, I do feel slightly responsible for this. And not just me, other content creators. We've been holding Hollywood accountable, right? When we make these videos, us content creators, we're not trying to be mean-spirited, right? We're not trying to, like people you like to use the word rage bait. That's not what we're doing. We're holding Hollywood accountable because before anything else, content creators such as myself, Nerdrotic, Ryan Kennel, these other creators, right? We are fans, right? We are fans of Star Wars. We are fans of the MCU, DC, all this stuff. We're fans of movies. I'm a huge movie buff. I was a huge fan of Tron Legacy. I thought that this was an opportunity for Disney to create a new multi-billion-dollar franchise that would go on and on and on, and we would all enjoy these movies. And what do these dummies over at Disney do? They stripped away everything that made Tron Legacy good, and they gave us another lady boss in there, right? They made the same stupid creative decisions that blows up every franchise they have control over, right? With the MCU, they turn it into the MCU. With Star Wars, they got rid of all of our favorite characters. Han Solo got taken out. Everyone, right? Luke Skywalker got turned into a bum. And we got Rey. We got Reva. Well, something very similar happened to Tron Legacy. And now this is the news that we're getting right here. The 2025 box office was so horrific. It has Hollywood wishing for the roaring days of Black Adam. That's right. These dummies over at Hollywood are looking back at Black Adam wishing, man, those were the good days. You know what I mean? They're looking back wishing that those days would come back. Let me tell you, Black Adam was a huge disaster financially, huge flop, right? It all but destroyed Zack Snyder's universe, right? And I put a lot of blame on The Rock for that. I am not a big fan of The Rock. If you've seen my videos in the past, chat, I'm not The Rock's biggest fan. I like his wrestling stuff. Movie-wise, I can't stand him. But anyway, let's read this right here. Here is the twist Hollywood didn't see coming. The superhero everyone mocked in October 2022 now looks downright healthy next to October's headliners. In fact, The Rock's Black Adam, a perceived total failure just a few years ago, would have been a dream come true for this year's October box office. That is embarrassing, right? That is just embarrassing. And no, I'm sorry, that Park Place. I am not going to become a VIP member. I'm not. I if you want to grant me access or maybe a discount, I'll do that. But I just don't see myself doing that. Instead, I'm going to go over here with my boys over at Cosmic Book News, man. I'm a huge fan of Cosmic Book News, and I'm a huge fan of that Park Place. I just don't see myself buying the membership. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll do that. I'll use it. Maybe it's a tax write-off, business expense and whatnot. But yeah, man, I mean, when you have movies over in Hollywood, like Supergirl right here, right? That's a movie that they're making, right? And we got introduced to Supergirl at the end of Beta Man. And she went on to mock Beta Man. I think she called him a bitch. She ridiculed him, humiliated him, right? And now they gave her own movie, and this is what they're saying. Supergirl reshoots, adding more testosterone. Right? They're going to add in some David Cornsweet. And I don't think that's how you add more testosterone. I think they have it mixed up. If they wanted to add estrogen, I guess you add this Superman in there, but that's not the way you do it. Lobo, I can see Lobo having testosterone, but this version of Superman does not. My point is, chat, is that this is what Hollywood is doing, right? They're not giving people that actually go out and buy movie tickets what they want, right? And it tends, when you think of people that go out and buy movie tickets, and I'm just going to use myself as an example, right? Because I remember the glory days of going to the movies. I remember with, calling my friends, texting all my buddies, hey, that new Marvel movie's coming out. And we would all buy tickets together. We would go as a group and watch these movies. It was an experience. And our group was one of many groups going out and doing this. I mean, hell, I remember midnight premieres, right? I remember going to the midnight showing of The Dark Knight. I remember these things. I remember going to the midnight premiere of the Spider-Man movies, The Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, everything up until a couple of years ago, more than a couple of years ago, when Hollywood went completely off the rails with the message, right? And then we started getting things like the MCU. We started getting things like the Star Wars sequels, which that was another one. I think the first Star Wars sequel that we got, which was The Force Awakens, that was the last time I remember. No, I take that back. The Last Jedi was when I kind of saw the writing on the wall. Was when I kind of saw that Hollywood was no longer interested in entertaining moviegoers, right? People that want to go out and spend an arm and a leg on a movie ticket. They were no longer interested in that. Instead, they were using these multi-billion-dollar franchises as a sort of lubricant to shove in their messages, their woke nonsense, their evil, their lies. And it worked for a little while. Right? There was a lot of infighting, like, oh, there's no message in there. You're thinking too much about it. And I think now it's abundantly clear that is Hollywood's main directive when it comes to making movies. It's no longer about making good movies that you just can go have fun at. Now it's all about the message. And I think now we've reached a point with Hollywood where they have to start making decisions, right? They have to start weighing if the message is worth the squeeze, right? Is the message worth losing money time after time after time? And I think they're trying to navigate those waters. I think they're still trying to do both, but it's just not going to work. People are just not interested, right? They have to do a complete about face and go back to just entertaining people and not worry about offending people, not worry about the message or if this is inclusive, if this is, like all that garbage. You have to get away from that. And you just have to bring in good movie makers, good writers, and just let them do their thing. I mean, it breaks my heart, honestly, that we haven't seen a good Seth Rogen movie in 7 years? All because the message and woke politics and being offensive and all this has gotten in his way. And now he's over here making series about being a Hollywood director, which is actually quite good. I've watched it. It's not bad. Anyway, I hope we get back to good movies again, right? I do. I really do. I hope. I don't like seeing this, honestly. I know I made a joke in the beginning that I like seeing this, and I do. I like seeing woke Hollywood fail. But more than anything, I want good movies again, right? That's what I want. Anyway, chat, you guys let me know what you think down in the comments. And like always, don't forget to subscribe. Sensational.